Welcome, everyone. Today, we are exploring the essential guide, Critical Thinking Skills for Dummies by Martin Cohen, a philosopher and researcher dedicated to making complex ideas accessible. Cohen promises that critical thinking isn't a mysterious art reserved for tweedy professors, but a practical mental screwdriver designed for anyone curious enough to use it. Our goal today is to help you build that mental toolbox so you can zap bad arguments and produce brilliant insights. Let's begin our journey into unlocking your mind's true potential. Our blueprint for better thinking consists of 4 key pillars. First, we learn to identify arguments and conclusions hidden in everyday communication. Next, we interpret what we find, reading between the lines to uncover false assumptions. The third step is to produce, to structure and articulate your own persuasive cases more effectively. Finally, we apply these skills, transferring them to academia, the workplace, and daily life. As Cohen notes, critical thinking is really a toolbox for making the most of life. To think critically, we must overcome our brain's default settings. Daniel Kahneman identifies our intuitive, instinctual mode as fast thinking. While efficient, it relies on shortcuts and groupthink to save energy, often leading to stereotypes. In contrast, slow thinking is methodical and coolly weighs evidence. This critical approach rejects blind faith and instead embraces what William Graham Sumner calls the highest of duties, skepticism. It's about viewing issues without preconceived prejudices to reach the right answers. Beyond internal biases, we must also defend our minds against external forces designed to bypass our critical radar. Slide 4 introduces the sociology of thinking and the 3 Ps: prejudice, propaganda, and public relations. Prejudice involves strong convictions masquerading as pseudoscience. Propaganda uses institutional manipulation to appeal to the hopes and fears of the man in the street. Finally, public relations manufactures consumer demand using polished persuasion. Together, these forces drive indoctrination. Recognizing these techniques is vital. As Cohen explains, these forces aim to corral our thinking, preventing us from acting as truly independent individuals. We now move from theory to our practical toolkit, which contains 4 essential instruments for real-world application. The filter handles reading, using techniques to evaluate sources actively. The X-ray is for arguing. It dissects the anatomy of claims to see their internal logic. The Reframer encourages creativity through logic loops and lateral thinking. Finally, the Synthesizer integrates everything, combining cold logic with emotional intelligence. These tools help you navigate a world full of fuzziness and contradictions with sharp, practical insights. Our first application is the critical reading filter. Critical readers do not accept text passively. They are like author-eating sharks. We must first check the source. Who is writing this, and what is their bias? For example, a newspaper report might blame global warming on a political mandate while ignoring agricultural data. We then weigh facts against opinions and identify implicit arguments. What is the text trying to say without saying it? This process distills raw text into active, distilled insight. Real-life arguments are like icebergs. Above the surface is the conclusion or claim, which people usually leap to instantly in conversation. Just below the surface are the premises or evidence, the data provided to back up that conclusion. However, the hidden danger lies deep underwater. Hidden assumptions. These are unstated beliefs that hold the argument together. A critical thinker must act as a detective, actively excavating these hidden assumptions to see if the argument truly holds water. When constructing your own arguments, follow these 4 principles of critical writing. First, deconstruct the topic. Ask what is actually being asked before you write. Second, know your audience. Empathize with their motivations to tailor the detail required. Third, check all angles. Deliberately unpack contradictions to strengthen your case. Finally, produce effective conclusions by synthesizing your premises into a watertight, logical endpoint. Avoid flowery gardens of language. Aim for simplicity and clarity to guide your reader. Logic alone is often insufficient. True critical thinking requires creative leaps. Consider the linear trap. A firm asked engineers to design a better lawnmower, resulting only in minor tinkering. However, by reframing the task as designing machines to help people maintain lawns, they invented the strimmer. By going back one step and redefining the task, they unlocked an entirely new product category. Reframing allows you to break linear boundaries and find solutions that conventional reasoning simply cannot reach. To test arguments from multiple angles, we use Edward de Bono's 6 thinking hats. The white hat is objective, treating data coolly and rationally. But critical thinkers don't stop there. They put on the red hat, allowing full rein to intuitions and emotions to acknowledge how a text makes them feel. By systematically switching perspectives, from looking for faults with a black hat to speculating with a green hat, you build a complete 360-degree view of any complex issue. A common myth is that critical thinking is purely cold logic. In reality, emotional intelligence, EQ, is the missing link. Daniel Goleman argues that logic alone isn't enough for success. We must spot emotions in others through body language and listen actively by being open to divergent views. Self-awareness is vital to recognize our own biases and hot illusions. Finally, we manage feelings by exercising self-control, giving others space to develop ideas rather than switching off at the first disagreement. The complete critical thinker is a synthesis of 3 realms: informal logic, emotional intelligence, and creative imagination. It's about more than just exposing fallacies. It's about empathizing with audiences and reframing problems to break linear boundaries. The modern critical thinker is not a machine processing formal proofs, but a curious, socially aware human capable of navigating a fuzzy, contradictory world. By combining these skills, you become a holistic thinker, equipped with a versatile toolbox ready for any real-world challenge life throws your way. We conclude with a powerful reminder from Thomas Huxley. The improver of natural knowledge must refuse to acknowledge authority as such. For the critical thinker, skepticism is the highest of duties, and blind faith is the unpardonable sin. Your final takeaway today is that critical thinking is your ultimate insurance policy against deception and bad decisions. So equip your mental toolbox, maintain your curiosity, and never stop questioning the status quo. Thank you for joining this exploration of the mind's toolbox.